morning. I am delighted to be here and to be back at IFPRI. I was musing when we arrived this morning with Rajul that when I worked at IFPRI, we were based on 2 floors, basically had no regional or satellite offices, and I'm absolutely delighted at the growth of IFPRI, not simply in terms of size, but the continued impact of the IFPRI research globally, and go IFPRI. Anyway, all I want to do is provide a little bit of a background to the report, which I think will give you a context on the Nutrition and Food Systems report. The report was requested by the United Nations Committee on World Food Security. CFS is an international, intergovernmental organization that has representation from UN agencies, member nations. At the moment, there are about 137 countries affiliated with CFS. There's civil society representation, private sector, and the CGIAR has a representative on the CFS, which is terrific. For those of you, I'll give you the elevator speech on CFS. CFS is to provide a platform for discussion of issues related to food security and nutrition. It identifies strategies for improving efforts on food security and nutrition. Where appropriate, develops voluntary guidelines, and I know Jess and I, you may hear from her on this, but are really pleased that as a result of this report, the CFS is moving forward on developing voluntary guidelines that can be used at country level to promote more healthful food systems. So that's terrific. The HLPE was created as part of the Committee on World Food Security to provide a mechanism for having structured evidence-based input on food security and nutrition issues. The HLPE serves in 2 ways. One, the committee, which is composed at the moment of 15 members, geographically represents different disciplines. The HLPE responds to requests from the Committee on Food Security for reports on specific technical issues. There was a request for something on food systems where we responded. So that's one track. The other is we regularly develop a concept note on emerging issues in food security, nutrition, and agriculture. And based on that, hopefully prompt a dialogue on future work of the HLPE. Let me just give you a brief walkthrough. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything on the process for the report. And I think when you hear the process we go through, it sounds draconian. In October of 2015, at the plenary session of the Committee on World Food Security, I presented for the first time the concept note on what a nutrition and food systems report would look like. It's an understatement to say there was a lively discussion. Sparks flew. That's good. That's good. It shows this interest. After the concept note was approved, we then had a call for nominations of people who would be on, we call it project team and or writing team. Again, we looked for, given the nature of the topic, a multidisciplinary team, geographically diverse, gender diverse, and we appointed the HLPE a 10-person team chaired by Jess Fonzo, and I don't want to embarrass Jess, but thank goodness we had her. I think you gave up 24/7 your professional life for a year and a half to make sure this report came out on time. We appreciate that. We, in addition to 2 in-person meetings, one in London, one in Washington, again, when it was cold in Washington, had in-person meetings. We had weekly calls to keep us on track. We had 3 different drafts of the report, including one that went out for an e-consultation. We had hundreds of people responding to the draft report. We had a peer review, and what I remember most about the peer review of the report, we got 85 pages of comments. And it was launched at the 2017 CSF in Rome. We are having follow-up activities, which I think is important. Yes, the report's important, but what do you do with it? So what? And so almost immediately after the launch in Rome, we had an event a week later in Argentina, the International Union of Nutrition Scientists meeting, which happens every 4 years, and a panel there discussing the essence of the report and interacting with the audience. This past December, I was invited to Budapest to speak to an FAO-WHO regional conference on food systems and presented the essence of the report. Again, really lively discussion with the audience, and I assume this one today is going to be even livelier. So, I am delighted that IFPRI has decided to host the U.S. launch of the report. We think it's important to get the information out, but also think about, so what's next, and how we collectively as organizations and individually can move forward with some of the specific recommendations. With that, it is my honor to introduce Dr. Jessica Fonzo. My title's easy, Jess. I'm professor. Your title's a little bit longer, so let me make sure I get it right. Jess is the Bloomberg Distinguished Associate Professor of Global Food and Agricultural Policy and Ethics, and also Director of the Global Food Ethics and Policy Program at Johns Hopkins University. And not only do I know her professionally, but I consider her a good friend. Take it away, Jess.